In the middle of the South China Sea, where trade winds whisper secrets of the past, a tiny island sits like a jewel waiting to be claimed. This is the story of Singapore, a place that rose from a sleepy fishing village to a global powerhouse. But how did it all begin? Buckle up, because this tale is full of pirates, princes, and power struggles that shaped a nation. Chapter 1: The Legend of Sang Nila Utama. Let's rewind to the 13th century. Picture this. A fierce storm rages across the sea. A young prince from Palembang, Sang Nila Utama, is tossed by waves, his ship barely holding together. He's searching for a new kingdom, a fresh start. Suddenly, he spots an island with golden shores. As his boat crashes onto the beach, he sees something extraordinary. A majestic creature with a red body, black head, and white chest. A lion, or so he believes. Awestruck, he declares, "This is Singapore, and the Lion City." Was it really a lion? Probably not. Singapore's got no lions, but maybe a tiger, or just a wild imagination. Either way, that moment plants the seed of a legend. Settlements spring up, and Singapore becomes a blip on the map of the mighty Srivijaya Empire. Chapter 2: The Rise and Fall of Early Singapore. Fast forward to the 14th century. Singapore is no longer just a dot, it's a buzzing port. Traders from China, India, and Arabia dock here, swapping silk, spices, and stories. The island's strategic spot on the trade route makes it a hot commodity. But with wealth comes envy. The Majapahit Empire from Java casts a greedy eye, and boom! In 1377, they attack. Singapore burns. Then, the Siamese swoop in, adding to the chaos. By the end of the century, this thriving port is a ghost town swallowed by jungle. For over 400 years, Singapore fades into obscurity. But don't count it out yet. This island's got a knack for comebacks. Chapter 3: Enter the British and Stamford Raffles. Jump to 1819. The world's a chessboard, and the British Empire wants to checkmate the Dutch in Southeast Asia. Enter Sir Stamford Raffles, a cunning strategist with a vision. He sails into Singapore's harbor on January 29th, finding a swampy fishing village ruled loosely by the Johor Sultanate. Raffles sees gold where others see mud. He strikes a deal with the local ruler, Temenggong Abdul Rahman, and a rival claimant, Hussein Shah. On February 6, 1819, a treaty is signed. The Union Jack rises, and Singapore becomes a British trading post. Raffles doesn't stick around long, but his plan works like magic. Free trade policies turn Singapore into a magnet for merchants. Within 5 years, the population explodes from a few hundred to over 10,000. Ships clog the harbor, and money flows like the Singapore River. Chapter 4: Colonial Boom and Bust. The 19th century is Singapore's glow-up era. The British build roads, ports, and grand colonial buildings. Chinese, Indian, and Malay workers flood in, creating a melting pot of cultures. Tin, rubber, and opium fuel the economy. Singapore's now the crown jewel of Britain's Asian empire. But it's not all glittering. Pirates lurk in the waters, preying on ships. Disease and crime haunt the streets. Then, World War II crashes the party. In 1942, Japan invades, and the British surrender in one of their worst defeats ever. Singapore falls, renamed Sionanto, and endures 3 brutal years. When the war ends in 1945, the British limp back, but the shine's worn off. The people want more. They want freedom. Chapter 5: The Road to Independence. Post-war Singapore is restless. Strikes, riots, and a cry for self-rule grow louder. In 1959, the British agree to internal self-government, and a charismatic lawyer, Lee Kuan Yew, steps up as Prime Minister. He's got big dreams, but bigger challenges. In 1963, Singapore joins Malaysia, hoping for strength in numbers. It's a messy marriage. She says, political clashes and racial tensions boil over. 2 years later, on August 9, 1965, Singapore's out. Lee Kuan Yew announces independence, tears in his eyes, calling it a moment of anguish. A tiny island with no resources, no army, no guarantees. Could it survive? Closing. The Lion City roars. Spoiler alert. It doesn't just survive, it thrives. From a vulnerable speck, Singapore transforms into a global titan. Skyscrapers pierce the sky, ports hum with trade. and a disciplined vision turned swamp into a city-state of steel and glass. Today, it's a symbol of resilience, a place where history's scars fuel ambition. From Sang Nila Utama's lion to Lee Kuan Yew's tears, Singapore's story proves one thing: even the smallest island can cast a giant shadow. And that's how the Lion City was born.